this part of him. He was wearing like a t-shirt, and he was like right by the fucking window, like literally like almost touching the fucking wall. And I panicked, right? So I stood up really quick, and then my chair, like, cause I had like wood flooring, but my chair was like metal, I don't know, and it made a sound on the floor, right? Like, you know when you stand up really quickly. And then he got shook, right? And because my window was open, and so I ran into the kitchen because there's no curtains there, it's a better view, and I saw like his back. Oh my god, my heart is like going so fast telling this story. Dude, that was like a really bad time for me. Okay, so I saw his back, and he was like running out of the backyard into the alleyway, and I saw him get on like a little BMX sized bike, and he just like rode away, right? And then so I was already in the kitchen, and then my the neighbor that saw me, that told me last time about the dude, he came to the kitchen to like cook, and he's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Oh my god, I think I just saw that guy again." So I told him the whole story, and he's like, "Oh my god, what are you gonna do?" And I was like, "Should I call the police?" And he's like, "I think you should." And then I'm so dumb, like I didn't even call 911. I called like the non-emergency number because I didn't feel threatened for some reason, like I don't know. And then they were like so mad at me, and they're like, "You should have called 911, like I'm gonna transfer you right now." And then they no, Nerpy's never heard the story apparently. And so they transferred me, and they asked for my address, and then like literally in like 2 minutes I heard sirens all over the place. I've never heard that before, like I don't know. And because usually like it's like one siren, like one car after the other, so they're all like the same way, but this time it was like coming from like different directions, and they were like, "They'll be at your house in like less than 5 minutes" or something. And then, but they actually didn't come to my house until I heard the sirens really quick, but they actually didn't come to my house until like 15 minutes later. So on the phone I gave them, they asked for a description of like what he was wearing and stuff, and so I told them he was like wearing an orange shirt and like cargo pants or something. And then yeah, they came to my house. They're like, "Oh, sorry, we're not late, we were just looking for the guy based on your description," but they couldn't find him because I called them so late as well, right? And I was like, "That's okay, I understand." So the people who showed up at my house, there was 2 cops, and they were both guys, and they were like, it was really weird because the first guy just like took down like really basic information, and then he left. And then the second guy like actually came into the house and was looking at the windows and stuff, and while I was talking, he was like, I forgot what he said exactly, but he was like kind of hitting on me, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, it was just like really fucking weird, because it was, you know, I'm like fucking shook from someone peeking in my window or whatever they were doing, and this is not the right time, okay? And then, but it wasn't that serious. But then the second, like, he took down like every word I said, and then a third guy showed up, and he was from forensics, and he was trying to find fingerprints, right? So what the guy was actually standing on, like when I saw his arm, because my window is so high, he was standing on like the air conditioning unit, which is like, my window is here and the air conditioning unit is like almost right below my window. It's like a bit to the side, so he was standing on like the side of the AC, and then he if he leaned over, he could see in my room. And so they were trying to take fingerprints from the AC, right? And then the second guy left, and then so it was just me and the forensics guy, and he was like, oh, like he was making conversation while he was trying to get the fingerprints, and he was like, it was kind of weird. He was like, are you in school? And I was like, yeah, because I was in college at the time. And he's like, oh, you look so young. And I was like, oh. And oh my god, I can't remember exactly, but he was like, it was kind of weird. He's like, I just bought a, no wait, he's like, do you have work or something? And I was like, because it was summertime, like summer vacation, and I was like, yeah, I have work. Like at that time I worked in renovations because I studied like civil engineering, but it was my first year, so we learned a lot about like construction stuff, and so I just found like a random construction job because I thought it'd be fun for shits and giggles. And then he asked me if I would work, and I was like, oh yeah, I work in renovations. And he was like, oh, like, I don't know, he was like very flirty. I don't think I was taking it the wrong way, but I can't remember exactly what he said. And he was kind of like, I just bought a house. And I was like, okay, cool. And he told me like where it was and stuff. I'm like, okay. And he's like, so maybe you know, when I get the house, you can like renovate my house. And I was like, huh? And he was like, yeah, maybe I can like get your number, something like that. And I was like, yeah, my boss only does work in this area because my boss, he's just like a contractor, and he usually only works in his area, and where that guy bought the house was like on the other side of Toronto. And so I was like, oh yeah, we only work here. And he was like, oh okay. Which was fucking weird because he asked for my number, but like honestly, they have my number, they have my address, they have like my fucking like, what do you want next, my social insurance number. Because when you have to you know what I mean, when you file a report, they take down all your info, right? I'm like, you have everything. So that was like extra weird. Anyways, and then so he did get some fresh fingerprints, but he wasn't sure, like obviously he doesn't know whose fingerprint it is, because like when it happened, I think I went outside with my roommate and we looked at the air conditioner, and I was like, oh, I'm pretty sure he jumped off from this, so maybe one of us touched it, or maybe the police officers touched it. Anyway, so he took the fingerprints and he's like, I'm gonna bring it back and see if we find any matches. And so yeah, so then I don't hear from them for a few days, and then they called me, like after that I went to my boyfriend's house at the time, and like as I was going there, because I had to walk to the subway or whatever, as I was going there, I saw like there was like a lot of cop cars in the area, and they like blocked off some certain areas. I should have called earlier, that was my fault maybe. But yeah, there was actually a lot of cops on the street, and I'm pretty sure it was for this, because usually there's not a lot of shit that happens where I live. So yeah, I went to my boyfriend's house, I didn't go home, and then they called me a few days later. It was like a detective, and he was like, we found a match for the fingerprints, and they're like, can you come in and like see if you know the person? And if you find a match for someone's fingerprint, that means they already have them on file, right? That means they've done something before. So I was like pretty scared. I was like, can you tell me more about the person? Like, because it could be someone you know, right? I didn't really see his face. I just saw like, you know, his arm and what he was wearing when he was running away. So I was like, can you tell me more about him? Like, what are his previous like convictions? Like, why do you have his fingerprint, basically? And then that detective, he was like, oh, I can't really tell you, but I can tell you that he's never like hurt anyone physically. And I was like, okay, I mean, I guess that makes me feel a bit better, but you know, it's still kind of weird. So I was supposed to make an appointment to go in, but for some reason I couldn't make it for the next few days. I don't remember. And then that detective, he was like, okay, I have like, he's like on vacation or something for like 5 days or a week or something. He's like, so there might be another detective that like calls you or something like that. I was like, okay. So then the next detective called me a few days later, and he was like, yeah, so I need you to come in and look at the picture or whatever. And I was like, okay. And I was like, so can you tell me more about the guy? Like, you know, I know you guys have his fingerprint, you know, blah, blah, blah. And this guy was like, yeah, his name is this, he's this old, he lives here, you know, this guy's been doing this for years. Like, he just told me everything. He gave me the whole thing. Like, first detective was like, nah, I can't. This one's like, yo. And then he said the fucked up thing he told me was like, he was like, this guy's been doing this since like 1999. And I was like, excuse me? And he's like, yeah, like last year I think he went to jail for like, or maybe 2 years ago he went to jail for a year for doing the same shit, something like that. And I was like, excuse me? Like, this guy's been doing it for that long and you guys just let him wander on the streets like it's okay? Anyways, so yeah, he told me a bunch of stuff. So then I had his name, right? Then I googled him and I saw like there was like a few articles about him, and there was no pictures though, and it said like he was a window peeker and he got arrested like last year or 2 years ago over like serial peeking. Like he had like a bunch of trespassing and oh my god, fuck, Siri just came out of nowhere and was like, I'm on it. I was like trespassing? She's like, I'm on it. Holy fuck. You need to chill, girl. Okay, sorry. That was so scary. Sorry. Oh shit. Okay, wait. I think I might be able. That scared the fuck out of you. It did. Siri found him. I might be able to find the news article because he had like a lot of weird shit. Like, I still remember his name. It's been so long. I wonder if he has any new stuff. Permanently closed. What the fuck? Oh shit, he did it again. Oh my god, he did it again in 2016. Okay, great. Okay, so there's a 2010 one. 17 charges for break and enter. They're like, most of the victims were like young girls, and they were sleeping and he went in and talked to them like sexually and then ran away. Yeah, break and enter, attempted break and enter, and night prowler, and like not following his like probation.